Okay, hey guys. Today I have another White Forest deck profile for you. So this is the most up-to-date version of the deck that I've been playing recently. I've been playing a lot more online recently than in person, just because my life's gotten a bit busy recently, and I've had a lot to focus on and stuff. Nothing too crazy, but just stuff that keeps me really busy. But have been able to take this to locals recently as well, and I think it's a very solid deck. And compared to the way that it used to play, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not as big of a fan of the way it kind of needs to be played now. But that's not to say I don't like the deck anymore. I still love this deck, but I'll go over some of like the little differences. But yeah, it's still a very strong deck, and it still has a lot of the same things that I love about it. But I'll go over some of the things that I kind of are not as big of a fan of, but also things that are just more format dependent. But yeah, I'll get into those. So first card in every White Forest list, 3 LZ, best card in the deck, pretty much. I'm still also playing just one LZ Azamina, the White Forest, and one is Stellar. I still think just one is fine. It's just for consistency. It's not the greatest starter. It has the highest ceiling of any starter, but it's not the best into like, hand traps and whatnot. So, but yeah. And then 3 Sylvie. We do finally have our OTS supers. I mean, it's better than nothing. Maybe it gets like a prismatic secret in the tins. You never know, but finally, at least the best starter in the deck has a foil printing now, so can't be annoyed at that though. But I only have 2 though. I still need to get my third one. But yeah, 3 of that. Then here, let's move on. Then for the spells and traps for the White Forest, there's still the 3 of the field spell. Great card. It's really unfortunate because it's like, it doesn't make the deck. It both makes the deck a little bit better and it's not exactly what the deck needed in my opinion, because it's a consistency boost that's really strong, but that also locks you out of a big part of your combos. It's perfectly, playable, and you're able to make really solid plays without it. But it's just one of those things where it's like you kind of have to play it. But I don't know, when I was playing the old, like a much heavier Sinful Spoil engine, I liked that a bit more. But I mean, with the consistency, you kind of have to play into some cards like Droll a bit more, because for this deck, you just kind of have to. 1 Tails, still standard. 1 Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, and then 1 Woes. Some people cut this. I just don't think that's ever right. Like, I completely understand why, and I'm not gonna say like, objectively wrong, maybe, I guess would be the right thing to say. I don't think it's objectively wrong to cut, but I think you're missing out on a huge, I guess, going second grind game aspects and going first, a huge part of your end board that's just very strong. Being able to get a Book of Eclipse that can add back the LZ and get a Search for a Sinful Spoil card off of Azamina LZ is just one of the strongest like interactions in the game, because it's double follow-up for 2 different archetypes, Sinful Spoils and White Forest, and it's a Book of Eclipse. So it's absolutely, or at least it turns out being a Book of Eclipse, but it's an absolutely insane card. But yeah, so I wouldn't want to cut it. Then for Diabell stuff, 1 Diabell's the White Witch, 1 Diabell Star, and 1 Diabell Star Vengeance. Yeah, I don't think we're probably going to go back to having multiple Diabell Star in the deck. I think the way the support is for the deck is that it's not needed. But all these cards are absolutely insane. They're really strong cards to play with, and they kind of need to be answered immediately when you're playing them, especially playing into a board. Less so this one. I mean, you still need to, have have a way to deal with this too, because this can get you a lot. But yeah, these cards are absolutely crazy. Then 3 Wanted, 1 Deception, 1 Hallowed Azamina, and then I'm playing the Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Silvera. You can also play Morian. I do like Morian too. This is something I've just been testing. It's a nice thing that you can set off of Diabel under Droll, or Diabel Star, I should say, under Droll, which is nice. And also at the end of your combos, if my main combo goes uninterrupted, I'm not usually actually summoning Diabel Star before I like make my full board. So like I'll have Diabel Star in my hand, and so I don't need to go through the deception line. So having something like this that I can set, I think is very nice. It's not quite as what would you say, versatile as Morian, excuse me, but I do think it's also still a very strong card, and it's something I'm trying. And in testing, it's done pretty okay. But yeah, that's definitely something that you can change. I'm playing Curse of Diabel and Filia Diabel. I really don't like these cards, but they are also both very strong. It just sucks that we're currently in a format that's like Droll, that means Droll. It's just one of those things where, you know, these cards are so good that, or they get you enough on their own that they're worth playing, but I don't know. I think it's just they're unfortunate cards, and they're also, you know, they're technically bricks. They're not like hand traps. They're not starters on their own, except for Filia. But then also going first, this doesn't get you a complete combo. It just gets you a little bit of it. But anyway, then I play 1 cross out and 1 call by because Droll exists. Don't really have to worry about Shifter anymore. That's really nice for this deck. Number of times I've played against people playing like Tempai and stuff, or, you know, just other Shifter decks has just been so frustrating over the what is it, like 9, or not 9, it's been like 10-11 months since White Forest came out. So then for non-engine, this is very much a format where you need to have heavy impact on your non-engine. Having like just a bunch of hand traps that are just very like weak, and just pairing them together is not going to be as good right now. So Ash is generally solid, but also mainly just out some old Charmies. 3 Droll for Mitsu Raizel. 3, here I'll put this, 3 Fulos, because it's the best generic old Charmy to main. I'm also playing, how should I put this over here? 3 Thrusts. This card's really good in this deck, mained. There's a number of cards that you can set off of it going first. Like you can set Woes, you can set... Morian is a better card to set off this than the Silvera trap, because you'd also have to have a Diabel monster. Yeah, you can set, what else can you set? You can set things like, also you can set, funny enough, you can set Curse of Diabel. And if you're able to combo, you can also like set cards like Triple Tactics Talents, which you can then send for your White Forest effects, and then add back with Diabel later, and then use, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so those are some of the main non-engine. And then pseudo non-engine, I am playing 2 Foolish Barrel Goods and 1 Black Goat Laughs. This deck is heavily built to combat Mitsu Raizel. That deck is, I think, going to be, especially for the NAWCQ, is probably going to be the most represented deck at the event. And it's definitely, I think, the strongest. Malice has like a few more what people call like silver bullets, a few more like cards that they're weak to. So I think people have moved slightly towards Mitsu Raizel, which is a little harder to play against. It's kind of just a Droll, or hoping that Charmy's put in some work. And then, but at that point you can also have your Charmy's Ash. So this is really good because you can send this and basically just turn off their detonator. It is still decent against other decks because you can send it for like whatever boss monster your opponent ends on. So if they end on a high wave King Caesar, you can just send it, turn off the Caesar. You can turn off the Desiree. Because if they're Desiree negating the first thing you do, which is Foolish Burial Goods, you're fine with that also. So the cool thing about Foolish Burial Goods though is it can also send the Curse of Diabel to search Philia Diabel to then get your plays going. So it is also like you're also able to combo with it. So it has some versatility, some flexible usage. But yeah, I think one of the main issues with a deck like this right now is that with the amount of cards you need to play, I think I'm playing 44. It's either 43 or 44, but with the amount of cards that you're playing, it's kind of a lot more difficult to have like the non-engine for like rogue decks. So it's heavily built for meta matchups, so like a lot of like Malice and a lot of Mitsu Raizio. Those are the kind of the decks that my main and side are built for. It's a little harder to play against Rogue now with the way that this deck is played, but it's still very strong. It just depends on the coin toss, and also depends on like the kind of things that your opponent loses, or your opponent's board loses to. But for the extra deck, still same old, 1 Diabel, 1 Arciela, and 1 Silvera. Absolutely insane cards. 1 Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. Cool, crazy card. Doesn't come up every single game, but it's still fairly consistently a card that I like to go into. Poplar of the White Forest, which is a great new synchro for the White Forest. Unfortunately, only a super, so no QCRs for this, unfortunately. But yeah, then I also played Duration. It's a very good card. It also comes up basically in the same instances as the Vengeance Dragon, but just if I want to synchro off with my Diabel Star instead of one of my level 8s, just whatever's better, like a spot removal or just a full board wipe. It just really depends. So, and then play 1 Chaos Angel. I really don't summon this that often. There's not many times in which I want to summon this, especially in this version of the deck. So honestly, it might be a card that you could cut, as crazy as that sounds for White Forest. But yeah, just, not that frequently summoned, unfortunately. For Azaminas, I believe I'm playing one of every single one except the new one. 1 St. Azamina, 1 Regina, 1 Arcielago, 1 Iliasovia. Still need to get my new ulti for that. And then 1 Soul. Great at breaking boards, great at comboing, great at baiting out hand traps, and then great at also going for game. Hollowed Azamina plus Wanted is an absolutely crazy combo now because of Diabel Star Vengeance being a simple spoil card. Is absolutely crazy. So all these come up in in due course of an event. So then the last 3 cards, Snake Eyes Dune Dragon. This honestly I think is a little win more. I think the amount of times that this comes up is not that many. It's not that crazy. It's a good card, and it's gonna ensure you some games and some odd game states. But at the end of the day, I think it's also just not 100% necessary. Guardian Chimera. I think this is a standard card for the deck now, and I wouldn't want to cut it. You don't summon it all that often, but you need to be able to threaten it, and then the times where you do want to summon it, it's very good. And then also 1 SP Little Knight. I do like having this because like if you have a Soul or like a Murcielago or maybe a Silvera or Arciela that like you can't link up into a Diabel for whatever reason, it's still just really good to be able to go into an SP and help just break boards and stuff. And then you can also, there are also some interesting plays if in odd game states where you can go into an SP to help like play around Nib so you don't lose your board. Those are, really good too. Put this over here. And last is the side deck. This is going to change over the course of, you know, formats changing, but right now I'm playing 3 Lancia, which is really good. I'm playing 2 Chaos Hunter. I want more cards for Malice because it's a slightly higher deck count, so the 3 Lancia mixed with other hand traps is just like not as good in a 44-ish card deck. So Chaos Hunter is also pretty good. 2 Perulia. I only own 2, but also I don't know. I think I might want to bump this up to 3 if I had a third, but also this is mainly for Mitsu Raizel, and our deck is also heavily built to combat this or to combat Mitsu Raizel anyway. And then also for Mitsu Raizel 3 XYZ Encore. This card is very important. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this card because you can actually make a what's it called, like a Castel in Mitsu Raizel and have Featherstorm and just like turn skip your opponent, and you need to be able to stop them from doing that. So this stops them from doing that, and also is just a really good way to play into a board with Detonator anyway. You just get rid of their Detonator. They no longer have like a cross negate. And honestly, like the way that this deck plays is like you're gonna try and kill them that turn. Otherwise, it's unlikely that you're gonna have much of a board other than like your Diabell cards anyway. So yeah, I think that's really important. And then for a couple 1-0s, Feather Duster, because we play Thrust. What's this called? Subversion. That's too shiny, man. Subversion's really good card to set off of Diabell Star to play into boards. You can also switch it off of Azamina Alzette, which is pretty funny if you can get to that point going second, although it doesn't happen that often. But for Thrust targets, D-Barrier, Artifact Sanctum, and this is a card that you can also use with Foolish Burial Goods, because you can reset it and then you have a lot of monsters with 2500 original attack and defense, so it basically becomes like a searchable, or not a searchable, but an easy to access Omni Negate counter trap with Foolish Burial Goods. And yeah, and that's kind of, you know, to round out the cards to fit the meta. So yeah, that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I still love this deck. I haven't been playing as much with it recently. I've also been playing with Malice and stuff, but this deck I think is a lot more fun to play, and also does a lot better into Mitsu Raizel than I think Malice does. For Malice, like you kind of are hoping, you're relying a little more on non-engine, and this deck has, or specific non-engine, and this deck you have a lot of things to play into that with like Thrust and with Droll and with the Foolish Burial Goods. But yeah, I'm still liking this deck. I'm still deciding whether I want to take this to the NAWCQ or if I want to take something else. But at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be White Forest, because this is still my favorite deck, and I love it. So yeah, if you guys have any updated thoughts on different strategies to play this deck for the upcoming format, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment, leave a question, all that cool stuff. I love talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And this deck specifically a lot, and I know it's been a little while since I posted a video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.